or Adom TV and Asempa 94.7 FM. Or share or watch now about 3 minutes after 8 a.m. Yeah, Kwakopim at 9:55. Then we make way. Majumadia for about Betwaso. And I watch away and send be brain anesi. Unim said, I watch away near tis, and our presidency at the Betuja. Sir President, after the 3 petitions be a winner. Ekotia, the Chief Justice. I mean, petitions, for the removal of the Chief Justice. And or the Akwakoma, the Council of State. Na Council of State on no president no ebedin sa waso no mahwe say asem wom anayete saying na beto dwa no na Chief Justice so tro ye say Mr. President mate say as petitions be aba beto am and so share the law of natural justice o say woman menso hu akwanja say mekere madwen ansa na kura na aboa together with the Council of State matumi establish whether there's a prima facie case against me and Sana Watuaso. And on no answer, presidency the two just say, okay, President after this petitions in Nano Ediama Chief Justice. Nemum or Chile President Nianje say Chief Justice Krata no de Brono President no Ebeto a media nanim Nano Nene ye bisa senti sa petition to remove the Chief Justice no Ninjina so et saying a BSC na say saying and a kwambe ni yefaswa ye Chief Justice esinchen ene ye bedwene nyina kama na so atumi ate asente a total education and a baba ye won Nnawotwe adwumadi so ene anapay na Nnawotwe we so na the Minister of Energy and Green Transition John Abdullahi Jinapo committee bi ote se omonhwehwe ekwan kura nam so ema ECG Omoja omo 3,000 containers ewotem porta omo clear no omo de omo nhwehwemu no betu dwa na omo nhwehwemu no omo kire se 3,000 containers ano omo se ewo port no omo kohwehemu no 1,300 of such containers no omo hu ewotem port ho na no na Nnawotwe we minister here said abi ene obebo anan na wahwe bia containers wo omo akokọ hu bi se bebre na no ewo sam warehouses be open area mo and no ya no ebetu dwa so much 10 Chinese and 4 Ghanaian nationals and no ye bisa say kwan ben so and asa ECG containers omu wi aye ye kan wi aye fi say container entumi so ya entum fi port ho enti kwan ben so omu si fa area asa containers from Tema Harbour ye be dwene ho sansem we nyina no oni entina ewo ye Nnawotwe adwumadi so ya from Samuel Kojobres me chamia me di dwumayanim on behalf of producers walanyo wafa akosinsia ene AC ohene Saramo ene directors omo ye adwuma sound for camera for light for ene set designers me simi gina omo nem na mada wase sana peso omo akwanja se mbra onchen ewo fie wo office ne bia wo nyina no na oni endi dwuma we ye twa enwo tewo ne yaba ye be don sen mu asuko yi papa nti oni entra e wa Adom TV and 94.7 FM yeba. All right, enti yentwa nsem no so e na afi yenko yanim safi na odo afidi na to ha Adom TV radio so ya Asempa 94.7 FM enti membo mia my sister Penny akua boachewa yi Adom ene ne dom na pena na pamfo ewo adwumadi omadi ewo Asempa 94.7 FM na yenko yanim na nche yesebeka ora Samuel Osaibonsu Esquire private legal practitioner obejo ene edin komo na yenko the ECG sensem no so na beto dwa no Minister for Energy and Green Transition ora John Abdullahi Jinapo na yem hyehye na modern sema to dwa na enye easy eno parliament and a former board chair for ECG and then minority leader ora Alexander Feomaken so the two just say ECG mpenifo ne custom mpenifo bi eye kulula la etonton ECG continent we ni abey enye fufuro eye ne koso de dada nti omo hwe no munsia no kwa yen konko hwe sa videos a eba Minister of Energy ene ne koso parliament na eba ebeto aso.
I'm also looking at the source of the problem. That for me is very, very important. Mr. Speaker, and with your permission, I'll tender in the committee's report so that everybody can read it. I'll tender it in. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the tables, for instance, in year 2023, their approved planned procurement was 935 million. That's less than 1 billion. By the end of the year, they had procured 8.3 billion. 7.3 billion more than their budget could accommodate. And so you had so many containers arriving at the port. So many containers arriving at the port. They are not able to clear. And that gives way for these things. Mr. Speaker, 2024, their budget was 1.3 billion for procurement. They ended up procuring 8.2 billion. That is the source of the problem. And I hold the view that whoever was responsible and the MD approving, Mr. Speaker, is even worrying. If you look at the procurement, the MD has a threshold of $1 million. A day, they sign 20 contracts, all of them 900, 900, 900, 900. These are the key issues that I am focusing on. And so let me tell those politicians, and excuse my language, Mr. Speaker, I believe that some of the criminals are part of it. On social media and trying to muddy the waters. Your days are numbered. Mr. Speaker, the containers have serial numbers. They are received at the port. They are entered into a document. There's a manifest for it. Before they move on, somebody has to sign for it. It has to go through an agent. It has to get to a destination. And I will trace all of that. We will trace them. That is the way to go. Already, I have written to the Bureau of National Investigations or National Investigation Bureau to commence investigation. And so, Mr. Speaker, without arguing too much, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I will tender in the report.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, in winding up, we are giving some immediate directives. The procurement unit was merged with the estate department. The head of procurement was jettisoned, and the head of estate department was then made to take care of the procurement. So I've written to ECG immediately that should be decoupled, and a qualified procurement expert should man the procurement unit. Secondly, we've reduced their budget from 500 million to 250, because we must pay for the power producers. Today, how come containers at the ports, containers that have arrived, the bureaucracy at our ports, they say the containers are missing. Mr. Speaker, it is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables that ECG needs after the supplier has been paid. They sell the container, and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, so now they say, oh, maybe it's happening under MPP, it's happening under NDC. No. An honorable minister, I know what you can do. If we can give you support to do it, you must adopt a posture, a non-partisan posture, and tackle the rots. But if we all want to approach it, MPP, NDC, Mr. Speaker, it will remain. NDC will spend 4 years, 16 years, 20 years, the same thing will be there. They will come into opposition, and the same thing would arise again. Then the perpetrators will be there in the system. Mr. Speaker, today, Ghanaian businesses cannot sleep because there's a new government, whereas foreign businesses are surviving because they are ambassadors.
All right, Tiano, then some course so Nnawotwe way concerning the ECG containers Ira FE Tema Port. Yemfara Charles for a policy lead climate change and energy transition or the African Center for Energy Policy ASAP. Charles Medasi say we're joining here on the phone. Unpack issues no. Say ECG at the 3,000 containers every drew port. Na said near 1,003 anywhere. Why partner was here holding accountable?
That's it. I think that it's all part of Nyoma the BIACA about ECG as a company and as a power distributor. Na Nyoma Bia who say MKOE ewo company nim. KPMG report by we saw what the audit report said. Nyoma na infractions they na audit report eka afa ho. And so that and secondly, I think that the company itself, here retooling. And there the say ECG as a company is really failing us. Say Bano say maintaining efficiency, even in power distribution, number one, and marketing we record the marketing but idea very, very huge. It's really about time go through some issues where you hold them accountable, because you can't tell me say if you are a state-owned enterprise now you have a well-functioning procurement unit. I'm sure this is the first time I hear shipments, and I'm sure say omo ewo sa unit no omo nim de adwuma mo and most of these issues there or say hwehwem na omo that are found to be liable it's me more eco environment and there also environment the be also do because thousands of containers into me and say a consumer now say it's something that we don't even know. Right, new information about and I saw some video be about how a copy or another shop or more aluminium bars bine as to whether it is true or not. We need more evidence to prove that. But the point is that there are a lot of breaches. What ECG as a company, I would say, pay attention to us as a country.
But I mean, if you listen to where the discussions about container Ira Fihania there, we seem not to really see. I mean, the politics idea. It sounds like see a corner, and now as a nation, I see it to me have that kind of direction that can help us deal with these rots, and not really say blame game.
I think the second part now, it's really the best solution. NDC Beko, MPP Beba, governments will go, governments will come. But we know we'll still be Ghanaians. And the past and present, the governments that have gone and come have shown us, I say we want to say something maybe at that moment to show that we are doing something. But say I'm fine now, pet ECG Anka. Last year near about losses. After the near about exchange rates in some. After the near about 60 or so bank accounts. After the near say among comply with cash waterfall.
Yeah.
This year we are talking about procurement issues. See, and we've enabled them for so long. And who have been the enabler? Mostly is government, because the leadership and most of the people are government appointees. I don't think say one personal company not minority leader can be about time I know your board chairman for ECG and you maybe and I say then you ask yourself, so what did he do when he was there? Okay. And now, now, catch him say NDC and MPP. What did you do? What safeguards did you put in place? In the same way, what is the current you doing? I mean, yeah, and this is a conversation I also you follow closely. Whether the government is really, really serious about making sure the ECG runs as a business. Because you see, say, Asemba, they will add a tax. Meanwhile, we are not dealing with the inefficiencies. You see, people are giving conversations around, say, in some 10% income, fuel, 9 frontier fire service, meanwhile, fire service is factored within our water tariffs. You see, if we do not set up and then call these SOEs to order, they will always be inefficient, and then they will find an easy way. And the easy way to deal with it will be to tax you and I.
Okay.
It's an issue of inefficiencies, and we need to solve this.
You understand the energy sector well, boy, and I appreciate it. Why part a bit me point is on why more I bet me possible some we are containers with 5,300 of them. Yatisaba could be $500,000. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. I say, what they share a power project bima a bit me abuama a nyoma akosuye. But you see, Sanyoma we know ayana hands nedoson a lot of middlemen, because you are talking about port issues, you are talking about procurement, you are talking about shipping, you are talking about customs, you are talking about a lot of entities that are involved. That is why I mean, but you see, I was saying, yeah, we have to follow the shipment. No, we have to track the processes, track the entities that are involved within the right from procurement up to Tema, you do ports, up to Tema, whether clearance worked or clearance didn't work. All of those things, the entities and then the people who are supposed to be involved, the investigation should show. And we should watch. I was saying a follow up closely. Sanana or Chinabiscanda from now we are Kata, may in the ACA, now they 2025 news, near Quanim. No, I was saying all of those people who are culpable, because I know, say, by all, the entities that are involved are the people who are involved are a lot. It's not only ECG. I'm not sure, say, only ECG pay. A bit
interesting. So for you, then when did that saw in this particular issue?
I think that many that's one is maybe you should not who are found culpable will be criminally held liable. Number two, a bigger conversation about the power sector, particularly the distribution sector, ECG. Yeah, something where you can idea can say you are against ECG or anything. But you see, most of these losses, most of these inefficiencies, they are affecting So it's scary. Eventually, when we lose our government and the question, and those are things that a bit in the school, a bit in the other social enterprises, so that the company should run as a business.
Okay.
You won't do that to your private company. As I say, we need to have a bigger conversation about the efficiency of ECG, right from procurement through to the engineering works, through to more compliance with regulations. There are issues reports and yet it's a report, PULC, APMG. These are independent units that have talked about the woes and then the issues of the power distributor. And we need to do action. And yes, many when the lights go off, many be affected. Those who can afford to buy generators will install solar. When the tariffs go up, many be chair. These are things we really, really need to sit down and discuss the future of ECG. And look at ways if ECG is not efficient, we should let the people who are more efficient and are willing to handle it come and handle the company. And yes, I mean, in a baby.
But one can say, "Oh, GDS same way. You be to me a cut to the bottom of it. Or more also facing loss in there."
I'm really hoping say a bit me. I mean, historically, you don't find a lot of confidence in some of these things. Mostly we discuss it and we go. But I'm really hoping again to say, sir, and you marry. That's what I'm saying. Is that we need to follow closely. Say, you join once and can, it will be difficult to track.
Okay.
But I will say it's me, obey me, they also me follow up, follow the news, follow the money, and see where it goes.
Yo, where the medase, Charles Ofori, say when you're near Dean Common, or now trade media. Charles Ofori, policy lead, climate change and energy transition, or the African Center for Energy Policy, ASAP. Well, member studio, na mema mabija for Akwaba, Ora Solomon Asante, a member of the MPP's national communications team or studio. I'm sorry, we have a code here.
I'm sorry.
Say aban sesa na omo onimo dada no e na ne omo sesa omo ho te so hu kan ado befa so ya nua Peter Mensa so be cancer and on deputy chief executive officer PSC Tema Harbour onia congrats aban sesa look good on you
NCU. No contribution, no chop. I contribute. Say no contribution, no chop. You are chopping because you contributed. Nobody can say anything. Come here, many tia.
Adom near Madden.
Okay.
Said the papa John Mama. Or castle reset baby. Ama and Mebuno. I say. Said ye campaign in yan emoji no. When ye be also the Magana Babuno ye juma. Obama Saquania. And we be na assuye so. Ye de bida amaye. In Tien so ya said ye say ye be ye juma near Shepapana Nuyam. Inti a yasudie and a dia so. A yes say yenya appointment. But as we can see, a saben ye be chat to her. Say Gidia President Mahama enya awo mabunu mu a enne mabu bebre nya position kama efe nti eyasudi say yen ye beye dwuma na ye dia hye papa no enu mo Gidia wa de wonye nti de bia no me da sorry bia na how best can I make the best impact or me sector or say de be ya ye betimi ade a transform any reset the economy. So resetting agenda na President Mama ka eda papa na kuma so papa na wo bia oye appointee bia da nim say papa na emphasize de na enye de eni agro ti wa obedi agro e wo ho bia no ya de a paso be hye enti yenchia mohwefo nyina
okay
na yenda ye papa John Mama say wanya ye mugidie sa yenso ye be hye na nduonyam na memfa kwan yi so na miaka same boss lawyer Sami Jemfi endra na ye ne birthday sonko na ye Ghana nyina wiase nyina lawyer Sami Jemfi na ye ne birthday
okay
na the birthday presenter a day my lawyer Sami Jemfi ni e say endra parliament pass the gold ball and you know that is the biggest birthday presenter.
Okay.
Yeah, you see the vision of President Mama to transform the economy. No? One of the backbone is in gold bar system.
Okay.
So you be leverage on the gold resource nanya media maye all the time. Me see young kwala you school no from primary near you were resources near body gold diamond kuku near the day. But all the time you cast answer me near say you was high resources winning as we poor.
Mate.
No, President Mama Bino, one of the key areas of leverage on here they are transforming economy. No, here the good board. And it's our good board. No parliament a jatuma. Yeah, be for me. Lawyer Sami Jemfi and a bedano. Your man and book and in a juma power. Why within the short time, which I say obey juma then the among my gun.
Peter, Mate Medase. Mamimsha or Solomon Asante ho. Solo 1,300 containers a year. Kwan benson o se fa na etumi ho omom bebia omo ankasa omo sha echi na etumi amamra ne omwadi
kojo medasi bebre dedi kan Edenchia so kuma ya hwefo. Ene Ghana man nyina. Eye containers aye ka ho asem. Kojo de di kan me confused kakra.
Okay.
Efa no eye ye osoafo a oda eye enyinam ahoden so ni figures a okotu ya na vary ni nyina figure way is different from at least one bob say 3-4 figures a ni nyina enye ba ko no e ho na ma me hu say because we say 1,003 ayera at a point you know say 3,000 and crap you can see after a French transition right yeah ma wo inspect ye hu enye si obi ne bo wa mani ba wo inspect ye hu say 3,000 ewo. In another brief wo kasa no who mentioned 2,500. Then in another instance wo kasa you mentioned 2,400. There was another video before was it 241 or 2491 24 pp. Until Mr. Three figures in emu die wan ni o say o kan sem na be ma enipa ahwa sem ni say sem na o kan no carry through that o kan ejina o consistency one factor ejina so hwa ade no say ade na o kan o si obomasom wakojina o kan o so obomasom wakoj ti won say ade na consist the o kan no na o kan be ko ba ni so opememe obomasom odinsa shembotom they say all kind of different places different things concerning the same act na ma who confuse you listeners and any viewers and me see I got confused as to which total figure of containers and an port why also call inspecting here. They are used to the west so call inspecting to 3,000 but subsequent ones now can also 2,4 2,5. Well, we will plead say minister benya ni figures no correct na on clear sa you know e mani hu say Ghana ye nyina ma hode ye ECG for no wo containers be about port 3,000 no you say 1,300 na ka wo Manchester be koka 1,007 e wo ho say o check ye na 3,000 they 2,500. Then it may raise a lot of questions. Say, what's the inspect here? Because upon inspection, they 3,000. Subsequent ones, you didn't add inspection and say, Bianca. To honor out clearly, now you exactly the number of containers ne ewo. They told me, you know, as to how you bet me, and your son, your money back about a yes. Uptie video na oboy na ye minority leader na ye honorable Afenyo Market na all can say and that has been my position whenever I come here everywhere I go I try to look we should be I don't Ghana first this a Ghana first and you have near be NDC MPP nearby between asema beton of national concern na ye be yan say MPP are taking position NDC are taking position on this matter. Let's just say no use the word. I will use the same word. The rot, will persist. Government will come, government will go because none of the political parties, is prepared to say okay. I deal with the minus 17. No me share kwanya ye beti me afa so ye be hwe na ye nyina ya to ato adwen ye de ye nya pomasi bi dia ma no. NDC twi ni say ne ebinom ye influences. E casti aspersions ne niema na MPP zu kra ni say na eno so koso e ba ni sa amagana onya asomdwe impuntuo ebo amagana mesere senior honorable minority leader ni kan ye no ye nhwe ni nyina zu gina as you see when this is the posture wona oda so ye na no now the assembly ba beto dwa no the way I will be presenting assembly, the way I will be canon, the way I just say, I'm will be presenting one mama for reading meanings into it. And the better say, you are prepared, say, obi enfa, adwene bi, efutuo bi, anas, and I yen corner say, what dear way the national, yen twat, adwene, and that's okay. Say, mona moteso, mon share, na monye. sa posture no ne be boy.
But will you agree with Nkofo Mukase? Raphael Markin was a former board chair of ECG. I mean, former government in Nkofo board of the ECG. Uti Raphael Markin will say, "Omoya aware, so that is there." But someone to me,
but that is there now. That is there.
Kabana more eton containers no. Onankasa parliament no. Say he knows they are there. So someone to me and to one more anyahwe. Now we cost na year 1,500 echo in this year. Any question they say, omo benefiting to no one to me when they were born. Nana, will you agree with those people who ask those questions?
No.
Why would you?
Say, oh, Shane, Sana. Na, me who is ye take position be ye prepared say ye be solution to the matter.
Okay.
A be breedy sa blame game no. Okay, sir. Okay, any attend na munye. Ni sa ba e bianka ye ka se ye to adwene e wo mrahye bedwem ho a. Afanu ni nyina to adwene e se we die is a national program ye nhwe ye ne pomasi bre prekope na sa kanka no emfi sa institution ma. Em se be boye. But ka so be call back ana ko na wo ye e na wo ho na wo ye say never because let me tell you this. The fact that you're a market in the past regime, no can board or whatever, no, doesn't also clear the fact saying the practice has even existed even when NDC was in power. I hope you understand me. It's a friend you ever call it back, and I tell my whole they be first I think say we are misfiring.
No, but it's relevant to ask. Say, you when you were board chair or you were on the board, you knew, but when to one amount. Is it because now benefit here now 30% no to one amount? That's a question
for the position I want to take. I started taking say me per se ye pe solutions so that this thing will end. Whether NDC did it before, MPP did it before, or and I don't want it to come into the equation. It will ma. What they shall say you better now.
Me bisa someone you know.
No me. Unka say we be as we see our board doesn't mean so benefiting from other and I make us say yeah because now am you shy away distracting from the focus.
Okay.
I hope you understand me.
Okay, I get you.
If you like, let's open the Pandora box. Let's go that at the Mecca. Go see yeah subsequent discussion crap no here because yeah referrals. And NDC time during so and so bonafe amagana to a person falcon anymore. Na yeah until the young focus on that, I don't want to get distracted by those commentaries.
Okay.
Whether it is true or not, I do not want to enter into that terrain. What I am focused, and for purposes of the development of Ghana, before say, you move on straight to Quine Benz on the air far. Afenu ni nyina, you better make sure say dey be see. Esi when this embrace of abemu, esi when people embrace abemu. There should be a U-turn at a point in time. Say no, this thing must come to a halt. Except nipa na on the cassette. Is it Charles, right? Is it Charles?
Yes.
Yes. But it's all can be said. That is why they appreciate the call for the privatization of ECG. What me say? Oh, say he has moved from the blame thing, trying to profile a solution a bit because I can say bit twice say we are sure say you will be private Juma and Kasi. Oh, and that is the discourse I want us to take. Because this idea akoso among for be for 1 year be even you can you can't hear technocrats. Come wo edwuma no na omo ye edwuma no. Who politician no de who be back 4 years. Uti year 8 years. Na we fi say edwuma ko nim. Say we serve as a board. Say any other political appointment am audit here. We fi yo. Now, or no technocrat no. The only thing that happens is say transfer from ABI to her. But at least top hierarchy in there. So, oye PRO, so oye there's providers any a government appointment and a political appointment in there. So it goes. So do you know what? Say you two abana say a political party assume office. Now you post your appointments to the very. Let me use the local government. That's my area. Now you both this or MMDC here. Who could rap office or a honor engineer beba, fiscal planning officer beba. MF that's a finance officer beba obi abech oh had we the one say omo no mo be chiro say omo no be just had we the because we know say kojo emphasis aban bia ba na board is ko ebi ho district na kona koma oh na ebi local government any crap on share that what me say don't go orientation there but the nitty-gritty no is in the practice okay into a ho no mo be kire wo na wan nya soso a sa a kire ne wo ho na you fall down big time and no mo ne wo kasa na wan tie soso a according to the same comparison, we hear the sports Ministry of Sports. Yeah, Papa, you see Ali, you see, Malam is a yeah, Papa is a former minister. Yes, what's that? Yes, how do you banner? Can you say no? So what I'm saying is, let's focus on trying to find out a solution to this, so that whereby obey, whereby Sudden will cut off. That is the discussion. I mean, it was a parliament. Omutimi pejam no muso say say dey we akoso. E kwan ben so na yefa. Ba say dey okan na like the minister. I say one, I don't know obi na be sign man epie. Two, e be fa checks bi nimumu. Three, there are vantage points say bio national security personnel na say for na mo hwe say ade na e ko no ampa say o say pie ko and I say fine. Sa niema no oh, so the akoma NIB me bompa is NIB for be so na mo rasa na emanim nyina na yehu who came for what, who signed for what, ni sa na money ni ntimi bringing the whole matter no to a rest.
Okay, all right, you medase it's 40 after 8 a.m. Yeah, Mania. So
I had one say ordinal betimi aka
and then also to me to make sure say we are arriving at a conclusion that Ghana for any budget we are able to arrest the perpetrators for Ghana to get what it deserves. 500,000 per container heading
medase pa into me catch last set mo fi dikasi me ba afofo hwepa nti se manche afofo anese mama ha afo president so de no ane alaji college that abosheba ye chia no ye regional minister ba ko pe obapa honorable charity gardener ma ye nchia omunyana na ukomi ankasa aya certificate nkase mkrenkuma mama test na afi enemi papa na akomo mo hwe fi dikase ye nchia omunyana woni bibi se omane ye ne se okoto de ne bodwe nyanya nkyere yemfa nkunti ba ne nkrante mara de se de menua ne okasa se hambofo no pay na Ghana nti emie nkoye ndi CMPP ofa amunya sa adanko dada James no de dan yamfa nto a be frato enura kwasi ye na nye kwame ye ne na enye ye beka kwame de ne nso ne na de aye nsa na ho ye koye nim na o ye se enkiye nkoye ndisi enkoye MPP sam ye wo krom ha confirm ye hu te confirm ye to ba bia enso mo ye propaganda gu ye so sa emfie nwotwe na confirm atu Minister Sema Wakan, there's no contradiction, Kojo. Minister Sema Wakan is straightforward. 3 figures pen on their trouble thing. Or say or no as minister during transition period. And na krata so mientie assembly ye. Na seminia was one tears ya on the one trotro member church no atiase. Krata mu ono aye transition document mu no ana MPP abandi shemu say under ECG no omo containers of 3,000 e wo port on Makra e be port tie ni o paper so no 3,000 during transition and I saw a minister in on the 17th yes when in on the 17th on no see 24th and okasa obekwa akoye check on sa 3,000 containers now minding omode share krata so ento ono ankasa ne na pamfo ko port ho se ye kwa akɔhwe containers no ye kodru honom no empanifu omo port omo container no tieni o omo se enya 3,000 na ye 2,500 that is the second figure enti krata so no ya tro 3,000 okodru honom na mpanifu na Omo ewo hono no man report no is am ben no so say 2500 e ho na bo minister ni pusa no say krata so ya 3000 ma bedru ans mo small ka 2500 no ene e bibi wo ho ma men sati committee ni yen koye nhwehwemu ni yen hunu containers no important na yeden e wo honom Ghana fo mnizemu tie ni eminua no so ntworo said ye beye na wo free ho a free ha kwa no akoye nchirichiri mu ama ne nuanom enti on papers na 3000 ye ko no mo asoe ne so kobu sampan fo mo so 2500 ana minister sati committee said there be monko hwehwem na ye hunu containers dodo ankasa e wo honom ye ko hwe ya Ghana fo eno na report no tabonten say sa even out of the 2500 na ye kano 1003 ayra 1003 out of the 2500 no ayra enim enti kosenya ni yobusan say sa 1300 no every na ayra e ba ne say e wona minister ne mpanifo national security asie ginam sie nkohwehwe and yakwa Chinese ni bia ono kwa about 40 of the containers. What can the cost of the container? 500,000 no and CDC o. Ye can dollars. $500,000 ya some ye can. Enti not say Chinese ni ba ko add 40 containers. Ye busana was last year. And you trust our container na man. And ya MPP abanso na me I would say it na guys e be adangada and na me en MPP. Momo de akrampa obi anim se adayi a confirm bia tukura no mo ye dede sa na ya koye hwehwem ya hu se containers ya kese we 1003 ayira. And a dance here wo ho se last year and as how containers ni na ayira free wo. And a minister yes say investigation but be that's our containers no akwa do piano we will fetch the containers container no minister can say say onokrampo no okono you see one of the key issue are yen so and it will come later on what basis na ECG ne krampo mko kras our containers 3000 containers no content of the containers no what was it procurement processes no niamaniama no how did it go Sanya money now will come to that later. And the minister no the no he want to know the content and why it has delayed because everyone in the see about 1.5 billion. And the minister na trimpan what they call no different and call ya yakwa say yanom oma de ni biom 1003 and when you confirm when you ataban, confirm what you say go ataban. Containers when you ataban, 1003 omaira. And that's a Siano, former ECG boss. And so then I know about 2 tosa Ghana for boo at the end of the Sadia Nisi wo. Meaning, Nesi wo. And Omonkasa Omabino, the former ECG board chairman, no, Adia Tunsena, Adiesi, Kata for me or what, Omotun town containers. And if we do not hold people responsible, we can't have some first of all, women are not responsible of those containers. And by the sign of containers, and young tabine, not 1003 at Wayana. And what's your Busa Sako sense, no, Nankophobia, no. And the open a Pumasibira, one for 5,000 so I better than Pumasibira. And those people involved, no, and what's some brand new dear. Na yes and ho and the amount for. And that is the very thing we are going to do. And that is what the minister is saying. And to me, hang out, who don't mind now? Kase said you minority leader cano. Say on him says I can't no honum and I'm a government. Our moton tono. Also Casas uncle for Nino and running coachomra. And no now bet Casasam, ye being a better to some pa. You are being nationalistic. Oh, managed door and now and Case. Yeah, NDC MPP some. Nobody is doing NDC MPP some. A ban the war Nasanyama we are MPP are buying so Nasanyama we are. One man a year involved. Let's get all those perpetrators involved. No, Even as at that time, no, say NDC or no obi, NDC ni no kasa team no it doesn't matter. The bottom line is the MPP are buying so as our containers, and the Chinese man has confirmed that. And how do we trace the people? That is what we should be interested in. Obi a wasam, obi a wa dance here, obi a wa information, obi a yebeboa. President Mahama says we are resetting the economy, we are resetting the country, we are transforming the nation through strategic measures. And this is what we are doing. You see how the minister was talking? Very passionate. Because one container $500,000. That may your calculation and come me machine so $500,000. They about tons 1,300. Containers the iron. Just look at that. Just look at that. $650 million.
But Peter, you're okay.
$650 million.
Yeah, okay. And then the minister can this is publication on Joy, and this is 12 March 2025. We're in your kind of parliament. I say, quote, when we took over, I visited the Tema Harbour and found about 3,000 containers stuck there, most of which contain transformers. As of today, ECG has a total liability of 13 billion cedis from supplies, with demurrage alone projected to reach 1.5 billion cedis by end of 2024, he stated.
Minia, we are the yatro. More, we what you know, and will be a throw out of the what ni video no I would not parliament and Casabos video.
But that's it.
And I may say, who video, I say, way, there will be a throw. More parliament. I don't know, because series but video now mechano was say what was in parliament. And that is what I was referencing.
Okansa,
was it on the 17th he was swearing?
Hold on.
Yes.
Okansa, you are trying to say, sir,
this is reportage.
My joy online.
This is reportage.
No, but this is his code.
This is reportage. Video.
I don't know if production was having. No.
I have given it to you.
Where 12?
Video.
No. But you can't contest an online publication when they have quoted the man.
Minister in the parliament and walk say or buy and transition 3,000. 17 years when in on 24th of Koy and a report on the money 2,500, and that is what I'm quoting. The video I would not parliament our vice president. The video while I know he asked it minimum or mumbo video. Would not parliament.
Could I have sent you if you don't have it? I've been sent it to you.
No, I don't want to be added. Yeah, this is my job.
So that is a report.
I was in the I was in the newsroom. Look, Minister Netis our committee to look into the me. And I'm afraid me too. And this is here. I'll say, Mr. Jinapo assured that the government will take decisive action to resolve these issues and ensure the efficient use of resources in the energy sector, adding that the Energy Ministry has set up a committee to investigate procurement anomalies and breaches.
Producer minister. From this week, a minister Kasa working in our parliament on the site why you clear?
And yet this week,
this
is 12 March in parliament.
The man is on tape. He's on video in parliament. And a video no say transition period. 3,000 and an hour record.
No, but your report of parliament or the other way. No, you see, I say when we took over, I visited Tema Harbour and found about 3,000 containers. I know there was a genocrat.
You see, answer no crano report and say about 3,000.
That's our report. What the man said.
And now what about specific say 2,500 at the port. The 3,000 is specific in transition period.
Okay.
But the specific one at the port are 2,500. And he's on tape. And now certain committee now committee no 1,003 of the 2,500 aira.
And no
na yen hwehwemu and through national security ni team a set it up no ya che Chinese ni bi on kwa 40 of them
But
what confirm say ye Tom man last year.
Peter, hold on. Let's take wow somehow kind.
Mo
Also minister can say or better figure
transition period no 3,000
and
of course 2,000 yes 2,000
okay
and your report on ko na on to me go guide all the 3,000 containers now 2,500 or call port or those who were in charge and they say on their records then and yet 3,000 you 2,500 no say transition period ya mama 3,000 figure ma ba ha mo so mo mama 2,500 and was certain committee say mo ko na mo kan
okay
enti akan ye mu ono and the Bible say, 2,500 new power more cano, a 1,003. Ayra. And a young strict investigation, and the aqua Chinese need be on 40. And what confirm me say, last year, as I containing your Toma, this is the crux of the matter.
This year they'll be in your
No. Say a year this year, and I say your friend is a minister no cramp on your power on 17th. What I say, Minister no crown about 17th. Oko Port Honoma, Director General of Ghana Port and Harbour, on only a pound somewhere 12th of February.
Okay.
And all those times is the management and leadership of the previous government on one and all. And assuming with the admitting say even January Crampo be all those people must be questioned.
I'm not looking at general.
But the fact,
this
the
is
facts is
No.
The facts is here. No cry. Also when the Jehona producers number. The first fact is here. What Chinese near out of that 1,003 no, okra 40. I no one confirm say last year near tons had you with mine. That is the prima facie case. I was here now based on. Now you set charge. You investigate. Obi okan obi ano. Let's cooperate with the minister. Nanko for my do money si kadi no. Yes anko.
Mate me da say 1 for 5 minutes.
ECG o mo boy and card.
Thank you. All right. Me da say kojo. In fact, ensema Peter Eka no enne ne minister kan ye no enyepe. Minister video no wo ho. Me susuma for the amount. Mo boa ebebo ye nyina. Me say minister ne say oko inspect 3,000. Oko inspect 3,000 ewo port. I say oko inspect and I underscore it again say I say oko inspect Honorable John Jinapose oko inspect 3,000 containers. That must be the fact. That is the fact, and that must be on record. Say minister Nankasa admit say no ko inspect here. One case obi na ka kire no. Our transition meeting as Debbie. Or see, he personally went to inspect 3,000. It didn't conclude. And then I made share my submission as I can say. Minister, I'm confused because on one also I can inspect. The moment also I can inspect, I say, "Oh, check, oh, I did wait there, yeah, 3,000." But subsequently, no, both figure now more 3,000. I see 2,500. Another one, I see 491. 2,491. That's 2,491. So which is which? Figures no man so which is which? I think I can earlier say out clear ni who say bia me call inspect here no e wo mo say me call inspect 3,000 but me call here no me nya adaje an kunkan ni nyina ensi 3 ana say bia say no me expect ni hu de ntira ade na drop from 3,000 the initial inspection figure of 3,000 to 2,500 and then to 2,491 where 2,491. No me hu. Now over say minister no you catch no transition say 3,000 later koko inspection no say 2,500. It is not being truthful to Ghanaians. Once that attitude in opposition it stops, it ends because you are now accountable to the people. Until ubi be should be factual. Ebia ampa minister no no waka we na mumu no ebia ABCD. Now yes, it's true say ampa say ebinum before this administration be take over 7 January no na ebinum in the past administrations no cartel bi wo hosa that ECG jumekuo nim anase bi port ho ne ebinum yesa de na nobody should be spared. Nobody should be spared. Because your manager pade na ye kan wasem. O mine sika na ye kan wasem. The pure water agbobloshi omo tonton niema ye tiji ticket kakra di nyina kwa go e di ye sa niema di abo eno asem na ye ka the sweat of the Ghanaians eti bi ni mo eti fa nkonko amase no it can't be possible. So I want it to be on record say Peter is not being accurate with the figures. And Peter is not reporting correctly on the figures that the minister mentioned. He said he inspected 3,000.
Aha Nnawotwe Jumadi Adom TV and Asempa ebetwe hotel ne aba yeko ne akwa hwe se mula hwan mu ene wi ni bibi ene memene de woni entena na hwe omombe wi ni yeko aba.
I'm also looking at the source of the problem. That for me is very, very important. Mr. Speaker, and with your permission, I'll tender in the committee's report so that everybody can read it. I'll tender it in. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the tables, for instance, in year 2023, their approved planned procurement was 935 million. That's less than 1 billion. By the end of the year, they had procured 8.3 billion. 7.3 billion more than their budget could accommodate. And so you had so many containers arriving at the port. So many containers arriving at the port. They are not able to clear. And that gives way for these things. Mr. Speaker, 2024, their budget was 1.3 billion for procurement. They ended up procuring 8.2 billion. That is the source of the problem. And I hold the view that whoever was responsible and the MD approving, Mr. Speaker, is even worried. If you look at the procurement, the MD has a threshold of $1 million. A day, they sign 20 contracts, all of them 900, 900, 900, 900. These are the key issues that I am focusing on. And so let me tell those politicians, and excuse my language, Mr. Speaker, I believe that some of the criminals are part of it. On social media and trying to muddy the waters. Your days are numbered. Mr. Speaker, the containers have serial numbers. They are received at the port. They are entered into a document. There's a manifest for it. Before they move on, somebody has to sign for it. It has to go through an agent. It has to get to a destination. And I will trace all of that. We will trace them. That is the way to go. Already, I have written to the Bureau of National Investigations or National Investigation Bureau to commence investigation. And so, Mr. Speaker, without
all right, memo akwaba envambra Nnawotwe Jumadi so Adom TV and Asempa 94.7 FM 6 minutes after 9 a.m. Adom TV. So, well, so we've dealt with the issue about the ECG, you know, containers, you know, wine, also to me, you know, what we need to do to unravel or more containers, you know, no more containers, you know, from the port. But the issue has to do with numbers, you know, what time and if you want idea. So, I mean, when the forensic investigation is conducted, we will probably see near echo.